I once had 2 job interviews in North Carolina. I lived in New York at the time. I was taking the drive down there instead of flying to save money. My at-the-time job sucked, and the 2 jobs I was interviewing for could finally be a new start for me. They were corporate office jobs with a lot of benefits and good salaries. Plus, the weather would be much better than New York. I was driving down there on a Thursday night. I took off from work Friday because that's when the 2 interviews were. Since I had to work Thursday, I had to hit the road as soon as I was off work. I stopped home first to grab my suitcase and other stuff I was bringing. Then I said goodbye to my family and set off. It was a long 8+ hour drive ahead of me. My ETA was into the early hours of the morning, like 2 a.m. I was heading to a Comfort Inn. I drank like 3 cups of coffee my first few hours driving, and for a while I was good. But if you're already running on fumes, no amount of coffee is going to keep you going. I already didn't get much sleep the night before because I was stressing over these interviews, and after a long, busy day at work, the last thing I wanted to be doing was driving close to 9 hours. It was late at night now. I had about 2 hours left in the drive. There were very few other cars on the road this late at night on a weeknight. I was starting to feel really sleepy now, but I knew most of the drive was behind me. Suddenly, on the side of the highway, I saw a man in a suit standing there, not walking, not moving. He was facing my car, and as I looked at him as I passed, I saw his face turning to follow my car. I said out loud, "What the fuck?" It was truly bizarre. I almost contemplated turning around and asking if he needed a ride. He was just in the middle of the highway in a suit at like 12:30 at night. I came up with stories in my head about what may have happened, like maybe his girlfriend kicked him out of the car. I did this to keep my mind awake as I felt like I was drifting away. Then something beyond frightening happened. It was only maybe 10 minutes after I had seen that man that I saw another man on the side of the road coming up, also in a suit, also just standing there. What the hell was going on? I slowed down to pull to the side of the road and possibly ask if everything was okay, and maybe offer a ride. I don't know what I was thinking, but either way, when I was on the shoulder almost to a stop, I looked in the rearview mirror and then turned around completely, and that man was gone, as if he just disappeared. I stepped on the gas and got back on the road. I was losing it. I needed to stop for another coffee. I had about an hour and a half to go at this point. I stopped at the first pit stop I could find and bought a medium coffee. I drank a few sips, but as I was sitting in the rest area gas station parking lot, I spotted a man in a suit again, standing under a light post. It was the same man. This time I got a clearer view of his face. He looked like a middle-aged white man, short dark brown hair, clean-shaven, and a neutral expression. But it was the way he was once again facing my car that freaked me the fuck out. I turned the car on and got out of there without looking back. I wanted to complete this drive, but the coffee wasn't doing it. I felt like I was going to pass out behind the wheel. I wasn't going to make it, so I pulled off the highway and parked in a random parking lot. I angled the seat all the way down and I attempted to go to sleep. As tired as I was, I couldn't help but be scared in this empty parking lot. Scared that if I opened my eyes, I would see that man in the suit again. I was drifting into a sleep when something made me wake up again and open my eyes. Probably my mind playing tricks on me again. I looked around the outside of my car, scared I was going to see him. I looked out each window and then the front windshield, and it was clear. Then I looked in the rearview mirror, and I felt my soul leave my body for a second, because there I saw for a second a person in the back seat. I'm sure it was the man in the suit again, but I didn't look long enough because I opened the door, screamed, and fell backwards out of the car as I crawled back. I kept screaming until I finally got up, looked inside the car, and saw nobody. The back seat was empty. As I came to my senses, I realized my mind had been playing tricks on me all night. There is no man in a suit. I'm just completely exhausted and need to sleep. I got back in my car, my heart racing. Honestly now though, I was too awake to go to sleep. I turned the car back on and finished my coffee and banged out the rest of the drive. By the time I checked into the hotel and got to the room, I fell into the bed and passed out right away. The next day, my first interview was at 11 a.m., so I didn't get much sleep, but I definitely felt somewhat recharged. However, the second my interviewer walked out to greet me, I froze up. My interviewer looked identical to the image of that man in the suit I kept hallucinating the night before. I know the interviewer noticed me freeze up. I could see it in his face. I tried to recover from this, but it set the tone for the rest of the interview, and I was completely nervous and out of it. I felt like I were in a dream. I left that interview with only an hour to get ready for my next one, and my next interviewer was a woman. I did much better with this one, because I actually got the job. I still work here and live in North Carolina now. My old therapist told me that she thinks the stress of mentally preparing for the interviews mixed with the lack of sleep caused me to hallucinate the main cause of my fear and stress. And so I hallucinated a man in a suit because that's who I pictured would be interviewing me. I feel like it doesn't sound too far-fetched, but it doesn't change how downright horrific the whole ordeal was.